So it has been quite some time since we last talked about the man who goes by the name The Liver King. Brian Johnson first went viral in late 2021 for his insane physique and diet to match. He was posting daily videos of him doing some insane physical feats, and of course who can forget the hours and hours of footage of him eating bull testes and various liver from countless livestock. And of course, with something taken to these extreme levels, there was also a sales pitch to come along with it. The Liver King claimed that he was all natural several times when questioned about it, declaring that no steroids were flowing through that body.
Do you think if I was on steroids, I would have these appendages down here, these legs?
Have legs?
Do you see how little my legs are?
At the end of the day, cheating doesn't scale. It's not sustainable and it doesn't scale. I don't touch this stuff. I've never done this stuff. I'm not going to do this stuff.
Which stuff?
The ass full of steroids that he talks about.
You've never taken steroids?
Never taken steroids. I've never done PEDs other than prioritize, execute, and dominate in life.
And really selling the idea that he achieved this look through his insane diet and, his words, an ancestral lifestyle. Basically, anyone with half a brain knew this was a gimmick right off the bat, but still he was selling all these different supplements to go along with that sort of diet, and this made him filthy rich. Now eventually Liver King got exposed by a man named Derek after he accidentally asked him for advice in email about his steroid cycle long before he ever became famous online. Liver King did this unknowingly, laying in his own grave because he was not privy to the fact that Derek was a very popular YouTuber. So he got exposed. At first he denied it, but he would later admit it after all the evidence was laid out there. In turn, he would eventually get sued in a $100 million lawsuit against his numerous companies by a guy who claims he was so bought into this ancestral lifestyle and the idea that he could one day also reign king, and basically saying that this Liver King lie ruined his life. Obviously, the dude behind the lawsuit was looking for a payday, and it's still in limbo whether or not he will receive it. And today I do have a Liver King update for you guys, as Brian Johnson has now announced that he's once again back on the gear, as if he ever stopped.
I guess here's what I'll say. I didn't lie to anybody when I went on the podcast and I started talking about my earnest commitment to go natural. So this year, starting on January 2nd, I went 220 days without any steroid, without any growth hormone, without any peptide, without anything synthetic. If you call eating a pound of fresh, raw bull testicles every single day natural, then I've been natty as for 220 days.
So he's trying to say that for the last 9 months he's taken absolutely no steroids. I'm pretty sure this man is like in his late 40s. And based on some of the videos he was posting over these last 9 months, it's hard to believe that he wasn't still on some sort of gear, as he was still looking absolutely yoked out of his mind. So a lot of people speculated that he just kind of toned down the amount that he was taking.
You don't just get more shredded and more vascular and more yada 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 when you come off steroid. So I've lost over 20 pounds. You know, and anybody who interacts with me in real life will tell you I look leaner. For anybody who doesn't believe me, all you have to do is look at my social media photos. Look at it from December to now and tell me that you can't tell the difference.
I always find before and after photos to be very interesting. I feel like it's mainly women who like to post these things, and maybe men who lost quite a bit of weight. And are you ever looking at someone's so-called transformation and you're like, I think you kind of just put on a different pair of pants? In all seriousness though, he does look pretty different just based off these two photos. His stomach was extremely bloated right here. In the second photo, he does look a lot leaner. But I just don't know if I'm buying that he completely jumped off the juice.
I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like the idea of losing over 20 pounds of muscle. I don't like the idea that became the reality of losing a lot of strength. My 1 rep max strict press was like 255, and I couldn't even hit 205 in July. So I've decided to go back on it.
Well, at least the man is honest about the fact that he's jumping back on the roids. I mean, I won't lie to you guys, it does suck for anyone who's worked out for like an extensive amount of time. There's obviously going to be times where you're bulking, then there's going to be times where you're cutting. And if you have gone through those various cycles, you know how much it sucks when you go from bulking to cutting when it comes to your strength. Because when you're bulking, it's like you're just making all these strength gains in the gym constantly. It's like every single week you're adding an extra 5-pound plate, maybe you're adding that 2.5. And then when you're trying to cut back down and lose some weight, your strength is gone, you feel like you have no energy, You come home and your food is bland, you're eating chicken and broccoli. And in his case, if we're actually believing this alleged change that he went through, I can't even imagine how much weaker he would feel after he was pumping his body with so many roids.
I'm taking testosterone. It's a cream. I do 3 clicks of it a day. I'm also doing a growth hormone. It's 2 clicks a day. Really what's considered HRT or TRT. It's hormone replacement therapy, managed in the normal range, not a supraphysiological range.
Okay, so this man is on that Joe Rogan. Like, I'm pretty sure it's well documented at this point that the most famous podcaster on earth is on that hormone replacement therapy. I believe this is something they actually recommend to a lot of men over the age of like 50 years old. And just looking at this picture of Joe Rogan compared to the Liver King currently, it's very hard for me to believe that they're on the same shit.
I've proven what I needed to prove to me. The commitment that I made to my boys, to my family, to all the primals out there, is I would never lie again. I've done what I need to do. I'm living my life by my terms, not somebody else's terms.
I mean, it sounds to me like he's still actually trying to convince himself that this is all fine. Like, I really don't think the everyday average person could give a shit whether he's on steroids or not. Yes, is some of the magic behind his videos now gone? Absolutely. It's almost like in The Wizard of Oz when everyone took a peek behind the curtain and saw what was really going on. Only in this case, it was obvious the entire time to anyone over the age of 7 years old.
I didn't show up one day and say, me liver caveman, me go back in time, live like ancestor brother, make fire, technology bad. I didn't say any of those things, you know. What I believe is that ancestral living is the path. It's these things that have nourished us for millions of years that enabled us to evolve to become the baddest mammalian predators that ever lived. Happy, healthy, robust, fulfilled. What's ancestral is technology, right? When we left the comfort of the cave and we figured percussion technology, to sculpt a rock into a bifacial blade, to learn how to throw a spear, a projectile, to be able to kill at a distance. Technology, by definition, is a utility to advance the interests of the person and or the tribe.
What is this motherfucker even waffling on about? Like, dude, no one gives a shit that you hop on your MacBook every day. No one gives a shit that you're taking flights. There's not anyone out here who actually believes you live like a caveman.
Here's the thing. I never wanted to do the Liver King.
He says right there he never wanted to do the Liver King, but it's well documented in those emails that he sent to Derek long before he ever got famous, long before he ever came out with his persona, because there is footage of him beforehand, and he looked nothing like this. He wasn't acting this way. He talked in a normal voice. And it's actually well documented in those emails that this was all a very contrived thing, but go on.
It was just crippling thinking about it, much less doing it. You know, when I was younger, I hated my life. I hated who I was. I was ashamed. I would honestly argue that anyone who feels the need to pump their body with all these steroids and to do all of these insane things just to achieve that sort of physique is still a very insecure person. And he could say, oh, I want to jump back on the gear because I miss my strength, which is probably true, but at the same time, I believe it's like 90% about the way he looks. It was the ancestral lifestyle that got my kids healthy and the light bulbs came on. What kind of piece of shit would I be if I didn't share this with the world? 4,000 people a day. And
oh my God, not this again.
They see no light at the end of the tunnel.
Not going on about this again, buddy.
How he hated his own life. Critical was ashamed of even showing his own face, you know, until I think when he got to 1 million followers or something like that, he did a reveal. Here's who I am. I know how that feels, you know, to have no self-worth.
I mean, just because Charlie chose not to show his face until he got to 1 million subscribers doesn't mean that he was insecure. There's a lot of people out there that would likely just want to remain private for various reasons. Maybe he hadn't decided whether he wanted YouTube to be like his official career at that point. Even me, myself, I was faceless for a little bit of time here on YouTube until I got to like 300,000 subscribers, I believe. And it really didn't have to do with insecurity, it just had to do with like, do I really want to keep doing this type of thing? But then once I knew I was like a little bit more straight with the money, I knew I could quit my other job, I was like ready to jump out and say like, hey, it's me. Because after all those years of trying and failing on other YouTube channels where I would show my face, I wanted like the credit for doing this, even if I never would have blown up to be any bigger than 300,000. Also, can we just acknowledge that this boy is looking very primal in this screenshot?
My opportunity to make my mark, you know, so that other young men like me don't have to hate their lives and suffer and struggle, so that other kids out there like my own boys have a decent shot at life. You want to bring the criticism, you want to make the videos, you know, this is fine. because I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to get this message out, because if we don't get eyeballs on the message, then what does it matter?
I mean, let's be honest about it, my guy. You want to get eyeballs on the message so you can sell your products. Like, I would say that's about 80% of his battle, and the other 20% is like feeding his insecurities. Like, he's always going on these rants about the people that want to self-delete and how he's here to help them, but I guess I'm just not really seeing that. Like, I don't see how posting a video of you eating bull testicles is gonna make someone say, oh, you know what, I do want to live today.
What I'm here to do is really share and cast a net so fucking big that we have an opportunity in our lifetime to change the trajectory of human health.
I mean, I do agree with the idea that something seriously needs to change about the way that most people live their lifestyle and eat. But sadly, we've reached a point in our society and our economy, and with all the stuff going on with social media and the way people are so sucked into devices, that a lot of people are out here living very unhealthy lifestyles. And I honestly blame a lot of it on the chemicals in the foods that we eat. Like, even if you're out here trying to eat healthy, you're trying to eat fruits, vegetables, there's so many pesticides going on behind the scenes. A lot of the nutrition that you would have got from produce in the past has really been diminished. And so it is really hard to live a healthy lifestyle, I will agree with that.
If you look at the way that Critical suffered, when Critical hit rock bottom, it was Ancestral Tenant 9 that saved his life. The bond, finding his best friends in college, connected him to creating, to let's make shit, to getting out of the hellhole and living a better life.
This guy seems to know an awful lot about Moist Critical. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a picture of him somewhere up in his house. Like, you know how the Mexican grandma always has a picture of Jesus hanging up somewhere? He just replaced the face.
There's this accusation that I look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Total Recall, that I'm all red and I'm about to explode. To me, this is a great compliment, because I want to be exploding, growing, expanding, sharing the philosophy of abundance. So why is Liver King so red? Part of it might be because I like to bathe in blood. You know, another part of it because if I'm on the camera and Coach Greg, your tan's looking pretty on point. Ancestral Tenant 7.
The 7th Ancestral.
You know, I've always thought that this type of thing was just a little bit crazy. I mean, I've been pretty into lifting weights and, you know, the whole physique thing in different parts of my life, but I've never felt inspired by the likes of these people. You know, I just kind of wanted to get some abs. I remember I had this friend back in college who was really into lifting weights. He was really into bodybuilding, and one day he goes to show me something on his phone, and he's going through his camera roll, and there's just a bunch of pictures of these different bodybuilders, and I'm like, dude, it's okay if you got a little secret.
Okay, Critical, I know that you were late to the party, but the party has just begun. I'm issuing and offering a formal invitation for you to come to Liver King Ranch. I'll give $100,000 donation to a charity of your choosing when you come out here and see that none of this is an act, that this is actually how I live.
I mean, I would honestly love to see some Liver King times Charlie content hit the timeline. Come on, man, give us the Short King crossover that we deserve. And there's actually one more piece of Liver King content that I wanted to show you guys today, where this man posted a TikTok of him going to the 9/11 memorial, and something about it is just very strange.
This is a solemn place, an American place. The ultimate subprimal act was committed right here. Right now we stand as a family. We're gonna honor a moment of silence for those that went before us. Liver King, out.
You know, he had to throw in the Liver King out. Like, dude, put on a shirt if you want to show some respect. In all seriousness though, Liver King, live your truth, man. If you want to pump yourself with more steroids than Jose Canseco, f it. I say you do it and you do it proudly. Either way, I want to know what you guys think about this Liver King update down below. Do you actually believe him when he said he jumped off the gear for 9 straight months? Either way, I do want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, it's been your boy the Tan Superman, and some other online gimmicks out here need to be covered, so I'm out. Peace!